Hello, dear viewers. Today we gathered here to talk about the most significant event of the year 2022. 150 languages of simultaneous translation. Unprecedented in history of the humanity. This is what people can do when they unite. And they united to build something better, creative society. But they also announced the D-Day, the result of multidisciplinary study made by researchers from all over the world that tells us that we as a humanity only have a very limited amount of time before the climate catastrophe of unprecedented scale. So how will we use the time that we got left? Will we just waste it on feuds, wars, on political unrest and divisions? Or will we unite as a civilization and build a society that's worthy of living as a human for each one of us and for our children? Today with us we have our speakers, people who voiced the truth and were heard around the world. Wilkins Etienne from Florida, USA. Roy Star Soundsick from Los Angeles, California. And on Zoom with us, we have Yelizaveta Khromova and John An from St. Louis. And me, your host, Talish Krupi from Los Angeles as well. Thank you for being with us. And let's start with our impressions and answers to your questions. So let's hear from, I guess, our lady, the only lady here with us, Yelizaveta. What was the most important and significant, in your opinion, from what we heard yesterday?
На форуме, безусловно, самым значимым была дата, которую нам выпала честь озвучить с командой спикеров, которая касалась доклада.
And this date was related to the climate disastrous report. It's how the events will develop.
Thank you so much. And also here with us we have Wilkins, who presented the very inspirational part. So on one side, yes, we know the truth about the climate change and that we only have a few years left, but also we can build this amazing new society based on unity and unification. And Wilkins, could you tell us a little bit more about your speech, because it was one of the most inspirational speeches at the conference?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So in building the creative society, we unite under the idea that we should all prosper as human beings, to live not only well, but to live very well, to have great conditions for all of us to live wonderful lives. And these 8 pillars are what everyone wants. It talks about the most fundamental values that we each have to live life prosperously. And these ideas are really beneficial for everyone. So I was excited to speak about that. And not only that, not only the 8 pillars were super exciting and informative, but also the Peace Prize for informing. There's incentive for everyone to spread the information as well about the Creative Society. So those were some really interesting points and something that I feel really should be known and heard by everyone.
Thank you so much. And people definitely heard, we can tell by the feedback that your message resonated with people. Mm-hmm. Roy Star, you also had wonderful speeches and they were very inspirational. And you presented one of the, I think, the most amazing, unexpected surprises of the conference, which was your spoken word, which was the lyrical, the artsy masterpiece. Could you tell us a little bit more what inspired you? How did you come up with this? And what was the message, the ultimate message of your spoken word?
Yes, thank you, Tali. Ultimately, the message of the spoken word was to emphasize the importance of us as a humanity and as a as a civilization, how important we need to take this climate information, the climate crisis, and all of the crises that are happening on the planet. We need to divert all of our attention and our time into solving these problems. And so the inspiration for the spoken word definitely came from the want and need to address these issues.
Thank you so much. Your message was heard by the people. And to all our viewers, I have to say that these people are true heroes because they really voicing the truth. And if you think this is so simple, if you think that this is so simple to go out there and say the truth, you are very much mistaken, because try to do it yourself and you will see that you put yourself out there to being mocked, being attacked by the system, being attacked by the media, as many people were who taken part. And those people who are not interested in truth being voiced are going to go for you, and they're going to try, first of all, to attack you, to make you lose your job, to make you lose your financial, sometimes even to stay without ability to support your family. So if you think that these people are just casually hanging out right there, this is not true. And we have a living example of that here with us, a true hero who voiced the truth about the climate change, about the CO2, that this is not the real problem, not the real cause of the climate change. And his story showed what kind of backlash can you get for that. So, John, it's a huge pleasure to have you here with us, and you're a true hero. And the way you stood up for the truth was amazing. For those who haven't seen the forum yet, could you just get us a brief explanation of what was the situation about in your case?
Yeah, thanks, Tali. So I gave this report and to Rotary Club, which is really the comprehensive story of how the climate change is happening. It's not the CO2. It doesn't explain like local heatings in the oceans, or why only Western Antarctica is melting, not the East. And we gave this story, and apparently somebody in Rotary was unhappy about it because this person was all about CO2, and I think this person was getting funding through this CO2 program. And when the Rotary members heard this story, and I think her funding may have been threatened, and because of that, she decided to act in, let's say, some in unethical way, and yes, and she sent out this email to my employer, and yeah, it was sent to my employer, and in a little later, this email was forwarded to me, and I was shocked. I spoke what I thought was right. I have my rights, and this person threatened behind my back. Oh, please, employer, please, you need to watch what this person's done, because this is not right. Just because, it doesn't fit the CO2 theory, so this person should get in trouble. Why? I spoke what I thought was right. And if people really look into this anthropogenic CO2 theory it's causing the global change, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, again, like going back to West Antarctica, how can free-flowing gas, how can it make only Western Antarctica melt, not the eastern side? How can it cause these blobs in the ocean? It's impossible. And yeah, I got this email, and I was really shocked. And when this happened, I just told the truth. Like, look, I presented this report. This is my views, and this is my rights. And luckily, my employer saw that, and they respected it. We've had further conversations, but I really appreciate my employer treating me as an employee, as a human. And yeah, things are okay now. Yeah, I hope that I set a good example that when somebody's throwing dirt at you, that one should stand up for what is right, because I mean, how's the truth going to get out? And I understand that there's a lot of issues of backlash and all this, but we don't have much time left. There's no time to really play around. So let's stand up. Let's stand up for the truth, and yeah, let's get the truth out, because CO2 is not right. We're all going to die together, or do we want to survive together? So it's just two options. And if nobody speaks about it, and if people are afraid, then we're all going to just die, just as we have seen in this this documentary. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, let's speak the truth. Let's get the truth out, and let's build a creative society, because this is the only way we can survive.
Basically, your example shows that when people are being scared of, participating actively in the project of creative society, maybe they think, oh, what people gonna think, what my employer is gonna think. Well, it shows that people are very supportive, and people who actually care for you, they always gonna support you. So if you, like most of the people in this world right now, we know that something is wrong with the system. We know that something is just not clicking. But you don't want to stand out of the crowd because what others gonna think of you, right? So I think the people who gathered yesterday from all over the world, they are true heroes because they show an example of bravery. They show an example of how you are being actually the brave person. You speaking the truth out there. And for others, it makes a tremendous impact because it's really hard to be coward in a room full of people who speak the truth. And when you're there by yourself watching it somewhere and you see that there are people who are voicing exactly what you've been having on your mind for all these years, you're gonna join them. For everyone who wants to join, please go on creativesociety.com and press join us button, because people have been asking, how do we join? And as to the forum, I would also like to ask Yelizaveta, what made you contribute so much? Because we know you're an established scientist, you have a degree from a very prestigious, but instead of pursuing career in the official United Nations, you name it, you could go anywhere. You could might be as well just working at the most prestigious official jobs, but you decided to let people know the truth, which might hurt your career, but you stood up for the right thing. So what was your motivation behind it? Because people asking, what moves you guys? Who finances you? What's your motivation? Who stands behind the creative society? Yelizaveta, who stands behind you and behind your motivation to voice the facts that have been voiced yesterday?
Well, basically nobody funds us. We often say to each other that our sponsor is the conscience, but basically it's our aspiration for life and aspiration to make sure that everyone whom I love would live, and all people on the planet too, because this number which has been voiced, this time countdown which appeared on the screen, 13 years, and the countdown is already on the way, and every minute, every second, there is this countdown. Every minute of the time is actually paid with the lives of people, who are now dying in cataclysms. And basically on the schedule of all the tendencies based on the mathematical model, we know for sure that this will only progress, and by the exponential increase, it will also, the number of deaths also increase, unfortunately, because this climate Cerberus will be eating people and humanity. And for me, it was a real shock when we understood this number, that basically we have 5 or 6 more or less peaceful years, and then in 8 years, there will be no economy at all in the world, no businesses, no investment, no companies which are now, people are starting up some companies now, but they will not exist. And all this investment will be just in vain, because if they are not if the money are not invested in creative society, it is just wasted. I was trying to understand what are these 5 to 6 years. 10 years ago, I graduated from the university, and it seems to me that it's such a short period of time. But 5 years, it's like an instant. Because now we can see that objectively and subjectively, objectively it is accelerating. Time is accelerating. And what is surprising that all these changes, this climate collapse actually started from 1992. It started manifesting itself. And this is basically the time of our life when we went to kindergarten or to schools, and it was growing together with us. When I was going to the university, this climate Cerberus was growing together with me, and all these changes were already happening, and they were sort of unnoticed to us. But now, thanks to those people who started this research in 1996, now we know this finally, and we can see all these processes, and we can see it just because it is accelerating that much, and it increases many times. And thanks to this, there are many facts, many new articles, or the articles which were published during this year, 2022, actually, they prove the shocking model. Basically, there was a number of Earth's volcanic eruptions, and the magma after these eruptions is more liquid and comes from more depths. It has a totally different chemical composition, and also the studies of the climate change on other planets also support this mathematical model. Basically, regarding those other planets, what we see this year, all these changes are also due to magma rise, and the same situation is everywhere. So everything is accelerating both on Earth and on other planets of the solar system. And this understanding that basically the schedule is not linear. It's not a line which, like they draw to us by the supporters of the anthropogenic theory, that they show a simple equation that in 100 years the temperature will rise by 1.5 degrees. No, the changes are exponential, and this is terrible. John basically gave this example about the boiling milk, that it is boiling slowly, but then within one instant it just, boils out the bottle, boils out the kettle, or now we can, it seems to us that these changes are sort of, not outside our windows, but this doesn't mean that in 5 years, even in Moscow, I won't see a volcanic eruption. We look at the schemes and maps where magma is rising, where the plumes, and we have discovered that there is a plume beneath Moscow. Can you imagine it? So it is rising also. It's the middle of November now, and the temperature in Moscow right now is plus 12. This is not supposed to be in reality. In Moscow, usually we have snow, but now we have plus 12, as if it's the beginning, of fall. And this is, these factors are the most motivating in terms of understanding the deadline, that actually we have clear, strict timetable, and the climate cycle of 12,000 years actually set this time schedule for us, and we have to speed up, and we have to catch up with this and overrun it, because, and another very big inspiration for me is that people understand this, they join in, they support the creative society, and the exponential character of this growth of technology and development of society. We understand that once everyone discovers the creative society, these changes will be very fast, just as fast as the boiling milk from the kettle. And actually, this is so positive and inspiring for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I think that this analogy with climate Cerberus was one of the most powerful ones, because anyone who knows mythology of ancient Greece, they know this ever-hungry dog with 3 heads that was eating, and the more it eating, the bigger it becomes and the more hungry it becomes. So this is what's been happening to climate. The further we procrastinate on taking action, and I'm not talking about raising taxes or whatever action is being announced officially right now, but actually getting the best scientists onto one table and make them work on the technologies that will stop this radiation, cosmic radiation that is causing the climate change. For everyone who haven't seen this part, I highly recommend you to educate yourself about true causes of climate change and what's not being told. We have to say that this is not being told mainly because this information would cause panic. But the true reason of our conference was not to cause panic. It's like when the house is burning down, you have to let the people know what's going on so we can save the human lives. And the solution was presented as well. We know what to do. There is a way out. So this is a very inspirational thing. And not only this is the way out, this is the next leap, the next generation where people can live without limitation of the consumer society, where people can live in the world which exceeds the best imagination, the best dreams we could ever have for the society. And this is where I want to ask our dear guest, one of the speakers, Wilkins. Mr. Etienne, what is the most exciting thing about the Creative Society? What makes you really want to participate in the project, and which technologies presented yesterday were the most remarkable in your opinion?
Well, Tali, I gotta say, I was shocked by the information that was presented to display the timeline that we have for our future. It revealed to me that there is not a lot of time left, right? But not only is there a solution, there is a way to get us past this point in civilization and leap us into an evolution in our way of being. One of the technologies that inspired me, that impressed me the most, was the matter replicator, like to solve all the hunger problems, you know, the vertical farms. There were so many technologies displayed in the forum. Just pick one, you know, vertical farming, the fuel-free generators. Imagine, I'm a Floridian. We just experienced 2 hurricanes in the recent past here and was without electricity, thankfully for not that long, for about 4 days. But there are many Floridians who were without electricity even still to this day. And the issues of the climate affect so many people around the world in so many ways. People are hungry and starving, and there were technologies introduced to help solve these problems that we're all facing. So those were the technologies that stood out to me the most. The matter replicators that are, you know, in the future, but even in the transition period, we have these technologies that already exist today, such as the vertical farming that cuts down on the usage of water, which is already in short supply for many people on this planet by up to, they said, 95%, which blows my mind. So yeah, Tali, those are the things that I found really, really impressive.
I think meta replicators was one of the most exciting technologies presented, and the way it works actually makes a lot of sense, because everything consists in our world of particles, and by putting these particles together or breaking them down into the smallest pieces, you can manipulate with matter. So the most exciting thing for many of us, after we discussed, that really stood out was the fact that you don't ever have to do dishes, because if you just dump it into the basket and it all goes into small particles, that's such an amazing thing. And that's just a very small piece of technology, but this really changes everything. And Roystar, how do you think it would change the life of ordinary citizens if they would be provided with everything necessary? And you know what else was there? Like, when fear of uncertainty of tomorrow is removed, when people don't have to worry, am I gonna lose the job? How am I gonna sustain myself? How am I gonna pay for my education or education of kids, of medical bills, of rising electricity bills? All this is gone. Everyone is provided with everything necessary to live. people say, but will people get lazy? Will people stop working, stop being, contributing to the society? Would you as an artist stop making music only because you're not starving to death, or you're not fear of not being able to pay rent tomorrow? Would this factor stop you from being creative, or would this help you to be creative? Like, what's your vision on this one?
Definitely, I believe that it would help me to be more creative. It would give me more free time to focus on my craft and the things that bring me joy. And so removing the dependency on acquiring material goods actually frees up everyone's ability to not only create, but to expand mentally, expand in education. Freeing up that material burden gives us all the opportunity to grow in every single area.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I would like to ask John regarding also your experience. It's amazing how you showed the strength, and you explained in details how exactly when the system attacks you, you showed us the example how to behave when literally, I don't want to offend anyone, but slaves of the system who believe in brainwashed agenda of splitting people in two different categories and clashing them against each other. They are both sides of this topic, whether it's people who don't believe in climate change, people who believe in CO2 causing climate change, whether it's Republicans versus Democrats, whether it's any other category of people. They're gonna split you in pro-life, pro-choice, very nice words. In fact, they're just gonna enlarge their audience, one by bringing in immigrants, another by forcing you to give birth to people. All these things that artificially polarize in our society and breaking it down into different races, into different genders, into different anything. I feel like even if people would all look the same, all being of the same gender, they would still find anything to divide people. They would say, oh, people with this shape of nose or different kind of ear shape would be split in different categories and still clashed against each other. So what is this factor that unites people from 150 countries and makes them work together as a team? What do you think is so special about this project that brings people together?
I think it's really about humanity. I mean, yeah, like you said, like people are divided for whatever reason, like skin color, political parties, whatever. But at the end of the day, how Wilkes described the A Foundation, this is what everybody wants. And this is, based on that, I think we can all connect. Can we not? Does anybody not want it? Does anybody not want the value of human life? Does anybody not want good healthcare, education? Does anybody not want that? To me, just being, it doesn't matter how you look, again, outside. I think what's important is that we all have souls inside because we're humans. And really, that is what connects us. We all want to live well. We want to be nice to each other. So, and to make that really happen, I think if we create a condition so that everything is just comfortable, we don't have to worry about food. We don't have to worry about, what clothes to wear, just cleaning up every day. We don't have to worry about any material matters. I think that will also help people to be nice to each other, and really, just it will be a really wonderful world. And I kind of want to go back to your question to Roy and Wilkins, and like for me, like what technology really would make difference is the energy. Like everything's limited by energy. Oh, we need to cut down on energy because we need to be more efficient. It's too expensive. But what if it really had free energy? We're struggling with all those recycling issues. Let's say the replicator. It will take some time to develop it, but how about the plastics? It's very expensive to recycle. It takes a lot of energy. But what if energy was free? We can use the energy to collect all this garbage from the oceans and just put it into a plant and then just make into a new form of material. Just like vertical farming, for example, like it's okay. There's also capital cost that's expensive, but another part of it is operating cost because the energy is expensive and the energy price has been going up. What if we have a free energy? it's no problem. We can supply the light, the heat that it needs. We can feed everyone. I mean, the one of the videos showed how efficient the vertical farming is, and if the energy is not an issue, like why are we? How we will struggle with 8 billion people? We can feed 50 billion people. It's no problem because the energy is unlimited. So I think if we can free ourselves with the energy, I think whole different possibilities of humanity will open up. But for that to happen, we would need creative society. Otherwise, there would be other, people develop weapons and other stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. I completely agree with you. I think when people are given the choice and know what exactly they're missing on, they would definitely hop on this project. So if anyone is not supporting Creative Society yet, it's simply because they are not aware of this project or not aware what it actually stands for, because what it stands for is the stuff that they are missing out on. And for those who already understand how important this project is, we want to show a little video of our volunteers around the world and to show how exactly you can make your life better. All you have to do is to inform others about this project. Let's watch it together.
It is important that all 8 billion people learn about the Creative Society project and support it. How can this be achieved? Where to start? Tell your family, friends, neighbors, work colleagues, basically everyone you know about the Creative Society. Share the information about the Creative Society on social media. You can write comments to videos, write video blogs, write posts, and share them on social networks. Post banners on your personal websites and accounts. Make your social networks explode with information about the Creative Society, and every user of your network will spread the news to the whole world.
I work with a large group of volunteers, and we have an official Creative Society account.
I am over 60. I'm a grandmother and a blogger. In my posts, I talk about the Creative Society.
Hello friends, my name is Gabo Korchak. I'm a chef. Informing is the first and most difficult stage in building the Creative Society. That's why I do my best to inform people about the Creative Society at every opportunity, whether it's meeting different people, guests, and so on. Because every person I talk to wants to live in peace, love, and prosperity.
We're clothed with a Creative Society logo, such as t-shirt or a baseball cap.
We use pullovers, t-shirts, and caps. We hand out cards with the logo and the webpage.
You're always on trend when you wear the Creative Society logo.
The only thing we need is the Creative Society. The Creative Society.
Put the sign in your yard. Attach a sticker with a Creative Society logo to your car. Decorate your bicycle with the logo.
As you can see, I have a t-shirt with the Creative Society logo printed on it. Well, it's one of the ways. I also put a sticker on my car, which says the Creative Society and has a QR code which people can scan to access the project homepage.
I support Creative Society and I inform people every single day about Creative Society, as you can see on my car and even on the plate.
Netherlands. We are volunteers from Amsterdam, excited to spread the knowledge about the Creative Society by placing a sticker on our bike.
Indeed, there is actually more bikes than people in the Netherlands. So you can imagine how important it is to put this message about the Creative Society, the 8th Foundation, and the way to get even more information with the QR code.
Leave information about the Creative Society in coffee shops, doctor's offices, the local grocery shops, the hairdressers, anywhere, even on the wing of an airplane.
We are in Berlin today, shooting a film about the Creative Society in an Italian cafe. We told the chief and owner of this cafe about the project, and he became really interested.
Please support this idea of young people who are fighting for and promoting a better world for all of us.
Today, I'm in the pediatric surgery department. My son has been treated here for more than 3 weeks. Such a small action as informing people can change the destiny of many.
Don't know where to get a model? It's already solved. Just go to the Creative Society website to the design section and choose the one you like. So let's do anything we can to build a Creative Society as soon as possible. Write poems, songs, make short videos, memes, and even jokes about. For example, the phrase, "If you do not support the Creative Society, don't touch me," can be printed on a toilet paper. If you are a business owner, put the Creative Society banner on your website or add their logo to your products. Show that you care about all people.
Since I have my own tailor shop, I inform people when I'm at work.
One of the fastest methods of conveying the information about the Creative Society is via media. Participate in talk shows, podcasts, news, or any other program about the Creative Society and its benefits.
It's the most important thing I can do in my life, and it's the most important thing I can do for all of humanity.
We were also invited as guests to the Storytime program on Radio Italy, where we talked about the Creative Society.
You can also put advertisements about the Creative Society in articles, newspapers, magazines, and on billboards. Place the Creative Society content on television, both local and global.
Great news! Soroka TV is now showing interviews and excerpts from various videos about the Creative Society project. The more creative content there is, the faster we will succeed in building the Creative Society.
The Creative Society project's logo should be everywhere, all over the world. It should be recognizable in every corner of the world.
Platform where every person can raise their voices and speak about what challenges them as individuals but also as a society. It's the voice of the people, and it's the people to make the change that we want. It's only together that we can change the world. It's you and me who come together for a betterment. That's why I call upon everyone, friends, brothers, sisters, to come and be part of this great project for the betterment of our world.
Be creative and think of other ways to let the world know about the Creative Society. But don't forget that everything has to be within the framework of the law. The sooner people learn about the Creative Society, the sooner we will be living in it. If you want to have a decent life, tell everyone about the Creative Society.
We're all unite on one platform, on the Creative Society platform, and we talk about the fact that we need to change the system with it. From the one that's consumer-oriented with money and power is number one to the one where we deserve to live well. Let's take a picture.
I have a big flag, and when I ride my bike, I attach this flag and the small ones to show that this way I draw people's attention to the Creative Society.
The marathon is a great way for the city to learn about the amazing project, the Creative Society.
Well, you see how easy it is? You just put a logo on your car, you call your friends, you let them know about this forum. You just put this link on your Facebook page. You just make a small TikTok video and say, hey people, I just saw this forum and I think you should check it out because this is the choice. That's how you provide the choice to the people. You know, a friend of mine, he said, when I want to make my son do certain things, when he doesn't want to wear certain jacket or whatever for the work, I don't tell him, I don't try to convince him to do that. All I do for him is say, hey, which one do you want to wear? This sweater or this sweater? So I'm giving him choice between the two. And this is what we've been given, the choice between one political party and the other. The choice between denying climate and anthropogenic agenda. So these are false choices. And when you inform people about the creative society, you're giving them the truthful choice, the only choice that will provide them and benefit them for not only this generation, but infinity. People often ask, what does the logo mean, the logo of the creative society? Well, that number 8 stands not only for the 8 foundations of the creative society, but also for infinite possibilities of our united civilization. So the second part of our conversation, I really want our speakers and volunteers to share how much of a difference it could make if we implement these technologies. And I know Yelizaveta usually always only concentrates on climatic part, but I also want to ask you one thing. These technologies, these really new technologies of energy, right? This energy that can be implemented based on quantum physics. How would such infinite energy would change our world when everyone could use unlimited amount of energy? In your opinion, Elizaveta, how would our world look different?
Well, first of all, we will be able to understand how to stabilize processes in the Earth's core and to stop those processes. But the question is how fast we can do this, because the processes have inertia and the fluctuations in the core, they are pressing out magma, and the magma also has its own inertia. So basically, for me, it's definitely can save our planet and save humanity from this trouble. Also, the discovery of this free energy and the involvement of all the capabilities of robotics and unification of all technology, databases, neural networks, for analyzing these areas where the cataclysms will take place. Even after we stop the processes within the core, it's very important to ensure that none of people would suffer, and so that people would be hosted in new dwellings, they would have food and everything they need, so that people who find themselves in the area of disasters would know this in advance, so that we would be able to evacuate people on time. And this limitless energy will enable us to create all the necessary equipment, drones, helicopters to extinguish fires, to evacuate people, to settle everyone, to ensure migration. And all this should be ensured in a good flow for the better of every person on the planet, not like it is now. Because now what we have during the cataclysms, the people who find themselves in the disaster area, they are nobody needs them, and after some event takes place on the news, we hear just a little piece of information, and afterwards nobody tells us what's happening to those people. Basically, it's those people have to start everything from scratch, and sometimes they cannot cope with their lives. And moreover, the countries of the world are more focused on their ambitions, and they don't even put such a task for themselves, for their researchers to save humanity. They don't even have the task of evacuating people. The emergency services do not work with that. They do something only after the events, not in advance. But before this, no prevention takes place, basically, because this is expensive, and in the consumers' format of society, the governments of the countries, it's not just beneficial for them. It's a bitter truth, but we gave this example many times. It is still acute, and it is still shocking. One of the seismologists whom we interviewed said that when he provided a forecast that in a certain place there will be an earthquake, he gave it to the government of a certain country, he didn't clarify which one. He got a response that coffins are cheaper than evacuation. Unfortunately, that's the reality we are living in. But the limitless source of energy in the creative society, where the value of life is the priority, this will no longer a problem to evacuate people, to ensure housing for them, clothes, food, etc. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizaveta. Definitely, it all starts with safety of every human. Every human life is the most precious thing, and definitely humans over profit. That's where it starts. But it doesn't mean that we have to lose anything financially. We only going to gain from the creative society being implemented. And everyone who already understands it and wants to support it, all you have to do is go on creativesociety.com, and you can find the page over there where you have all the logos. You can download printouts. You can actually create any sort of t-shirts, whatever brands on your car, anything you would like to do to promote the idea of creative society, because it's done by us, by regular people who are not being financed by anyone. We don't have any support from any organizations, including international ones. We're often being confused with some globalists or whatever foundations, but there is a very big difference between them, the ones who try to rule the world, and us, the people who actually stand for the people's right to self-govern, to have all the power distributed between all the people. So all of us making all life-changing decisions together. And one of the questions asked again in the chat under the forum, so you can write all your comments below this video and actually ask us questions. We read them and we answer. One of the questions was, if you go in to provide everyone with universal basic income, $10,000 or equivalent of $10,000 per person, would people still do the low quality labor or labor that is not so prestigious? How would that jobs be fulfilled, and would those jobs be done? And this is something I would like to ask you, Wilkins, is we're coming back to the question of the technologies. How do you sustain living when people are provided with universal basic income and nobody wants to do hard labor anymore?
I think the easy answer, robots. I think the manual jobs will be replaced with automation. I mean, the sky's the limit. As human beings, we have unlimited potential with our imagination. So, we will figure out how to get those kinds of jobs done without having to do them ourselves, so that we can free up our time to pursue what we really want to do in life, what gives us joy and fulfillment. So I believe it won't be an issue. Those jobs, we'll figure out a way to make those jobs not an issue for us.
I absolutely agree with you. There is absolutely no need for humans to work hard. We are not workhorses. We are people. We're supposed to live to actually be creative and make life better for everyone on this planet. And there is no need for labor enslavement. But, Ristor, the next question I would also like to address to you. How do you think these processes would change the creativity of the people and the way we self-govern? How do you think would be able, basically what creative society stands for is self-governing society. Does it mean that there will be no power over a human being? And how would that change our society, in your opinion?
Oh, wow. The absence of power would actually empower us individually. It would give us the responsibility and role to empower ourselves and create and control our own realities, as opposed to giving our responsibility to a politician or someone else thinking that it's their job to save us, when in reality it's our job to save ourselves. And I think the absence of a power structure, or the absence of one man having power over another, opens the door to that reality.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with you. It's about personal responsibility. So each one of you, our dear viewers watching this, don't wait for somebody else to build a creative society or to make your life better, or all your hopes about electing one politician or another. It's not gonna work. It's all about personal responsibility. And one of the very important things brought up yesterday was that if there will be no politicians who support the idea of creative society, we shouldn't participate in those elections at all, because it's pointless. And I would like to address our final question to John. How do you think the self-governing society is actually going to work? And does it mean that we're not going to have any sort of management? Because any company, for example, including yours where you work, it works somehow, there is management, but there is no power of one employee over another. How do you think this is applicable to the society in general?
Well, we just had elections not too long ago, and sometimes, we're voting for certain issues. One issue is not very transparent. And okay, you vote for certain politicians, but how do you trust them? So when we form a creative society, well, we're going to elect a person, a representative, who's going to do exactly what the people want, because we voted for this person to carry out certain actions. So this is how it's going to work in creative society. Whereas now we vote for a person, another money comes into this politician from somewhere else or whatever, from different organizations, and this person just goes off. In creative society, we vote for this person. If this person, a representative, doesn't do the job that we people want him or her to do, then we'll get him out of the office. We replace him or her with a person who would help to, who will carry out the people's will, what we want. So that will be the difference between now and when we would have a creative society.
Absolutely, John. The ability to actually recall any politician, any executive from any position, if they not doing their job right, this is what is actually empowering the people. And also ability to actually be heard. Your voice matters. Every human life, every person on earth has the same right and the same amount of power. And all of us working together as unified civilization, this is what is going to take us to the next leap of flourishing as a humanity. And there is nothing that divides us except for imaginary boundaries in our mindset set by those who trying to benefit out of our enslavement. But in fact, there is only one chance for all of us to survive, including those who trying to empower themselves, trying to rule our society. Even they will not be able to survive the climate cyberus that is coming for all of us. If we do nothing, this is going to be the end, and we're going to be done in only short period of time from now. But at the very same time, this point of bifurcation gives us amazing ability. We are on the crossroads right now, and our next step will determine everything. And remember that not taking action is also a choice which will have its consequences. So if you understand the importance of the information presented at the forum, make sure to click the button, subscribe, share this video across all your social media platforms, and become the voice yourself. Don't wait for somebody to invite you to participate. There is no special invitation. The call has been already announced. Go on TikTok, make this video, and let people hear your opinion about the society in which you would really love to live in. And leave your questions in the comments. We are reading those as well. Thank you for joining us today. This has been an amazing experience for all of us, and please don't lose your ability to enrich yourself by this amazing opportunity to contribute to the flourishing of our civilization altogether. Thank you.